What's going on, YouTube? So the three-row crossover segment is one of the most hotly contested segments in the entire auto industry, with very strong entries from almost every brand on the market. However, one of the biggest SUV brands out there, Jeep, did not participate in the segment until just now, with the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee L. And today it's going against another newcomer that's also widely considered one of, if not the best current option, the Kia Telluride. But without wasting any time, let's jump right in and see which of these two is the best option for you and your family. So like always, the first thing on the agenda to discuss is the pricing of these two. Starting with the Telluride, we have the fully loaded model, which is the SX all-wheel drive trim with the optional Prestige, Nightfall, and towing packages. Even maxed out, the total price is $10 above 50 grand. The Jeep, on the other hand, can occupy a much wider price range, all the way up to nearly $70,000. However, what we have today is the limited 4x4 trim, which is the sweet spot that the vast majority of people will choose. It starts and ends a bit more expensive than the value-packed Kia at $53,315. We will address that price gap at the end of the video in the value section. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of this comparison by starting with the exteriors. Obviously, these two look nothing alike, with the new Grand Cherokee taking an evolutionary approach to its design that modernizes the classic Jeep grille design language. The Telluride continues to stand out for its bold, almost Range Rover-like design, and for 2022, it's been updated with the new logo. The lighting, while fully LED on both, looks very different in their designs, stacked and stretched out. Interestingly, they both have the rare feature of amber daytime running lights, and they both also include LED fog lamps. Checking out the sides, you can immediately see that the Jeep is gigantic, with its nearly 205-inch length being substantially larger than most class offerings, including the Telluride. We will see later if that translates to more interior space, but as far as the wheels are concerned, both throw in 20-inch alloys. Moving around to the rear, the Jeep has some nice detailing with the chrome, and its slender taillights are fully LED for every element. The Telluride's taillights use incandescent turn signals, but it also has exposed exhaust outlets, which are missing from this trim level of the GC. And while we're back here, I will mention the superior tow rating of the Jeep, at 6,200 pounds versus 5,000 in the Kia. Now beyond the styling, both models have heated mirrors with blind spot indicators, though only the Tellurides are power folding at this price point. I also want to mention the safety systems beyond blind spot monitoring. Both of them include pretty much everything standard, including automatic emergency braking, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and auto high beam headlights. Finally, we have big warranty differences, since the Jeep offers the industry standard warranties, while the Kia continues to offer the ultra-long 5-year 60,000-mile basic warranty and 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Alright, that's it for the exteriors, so now let's check out the important family-focused cabins before we take them out for a spin. So walking up to the vehicles, both models have smart entry systems and their respective brands' newest key fobs. They both include remote start, but only the Jeep has a touch sensor behind the door handle to unlock. Now first opening up the doors, you'll see that just like on the outside, the interiors are starkly different. They both carry a distinctly upscale vibe, especially in these light color schemes. As far as the seats themselves, both have the same number of adjustments, even though they're different things, heating, and two-person memory, but only the Telluride has vented seats. The Jeep has real leather seating, but the Kia has Nappa leather seating, which is one of the nicest grades of leather available on a vehicle. Now like I mentioned, these are very rich looking cabins made of nice materials. Both of these interiors are basically like luxury vehicles, but the difference is that the Telluride gives you that experience here at $50,000, whereas the Jeep Grand Cherokee requires you going up the price structure a bit more. So while they are similar, a few areas, like the Jeep center tunnel and headliner, are not quite as nice as the Kia. After startup, you'll notice a reversal, with the Grand Cherokee having a premium full digital gauge cluster compared to a more normal looking analog arrangement with the Kia. However, the Telluride fights back with its blind spot camera system and a head-up display. Coming back to the steering wheels, both are leather-wrapped, heated, and manual adjusting. Next up, we have the very important aspect of interior storage, where these two are pretty much equal. Looking at the consoles and the storage cubbies in the front reveals very similar amounts of space, as well as wireless phone chargers. The Jeep does have double the USB ports, though. Now taking a look at the shifters, we have an electronic one and a traditional one. I won't get into personal preference between them, but I will point out that the Cherokee has paddle shifters on the wheel, and only the Telluride has a 360-degree camera at this price point. Above that, we have 3-zone automatic climate controls and upgraded sound systems, which we will go ahead and sample now. Overall sound quality is excellent on both and pretty much equal. And now that brings us to the infotainment systems. Besides for the big differences in how they are mounted, both of them have touchscreens that are a little over 10 inches. Inside the software, the new Uconnect 5 system in the Jeep has a couple advantages. First, it can run Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wirelessly instead of wired on the Kia. And second, it has a neat feature called FamCam, which basically acts as a security camera to watch your kids. Surprisingly, the Jeep has a manual dimming mirror, but its single-piece panoramic sunroof is more encompassing than the Telluride's split dual-panel one. Alright, now moving on to the rear areas, let's start with space, where the Telluride has about 7% more legroom, but nearly identical headroom. As far as amenities are concerned, both have a ton. People in the back have their own climate controls, household power outlets, and USB ports, though again, the Jeep has both sizes. They both also have heated rear seats, but the Telluride has the super rare feature of rear seat ventilation. And finally, the Kia has rear sunshades. Moving on to the third row of seats, both crossovers have a very convenient one-touch folding and sliding mechanism to give you a nice pathway back there. And once in the back, they have nearly identical third row measures, and both feel very spacious with vents and USB ports. Now moving around to the rear, both of them will have smart opening tailgates. And once they open up, you'll find some of the best cargo capacities in the entire class. Once again, they are pretty much evenly matched, besides for a Telluride advantage behind the third row. But we still have a pretty close race, so let's head on out to the road and see if one of them will pull out ahead. So taking a look at what's under the hoods, you'll find two naturally aspirated V6 engines, 3.6 and 3.8 liters, making nearly identical power figures. That means acceleration feels very similar between them as expected. Nice. Alright, and there we go with an initial acceleration in the 2022 Telluride. So, the engine situation is going to remain the same for the 2022 model year. So you still got the 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6 engine. It's going to be making 291 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, which are definitely class competitive numbers, and it certainly feels strong right off the line. look at that, we are up to 60 miles per hour with this new Grand Cherokee L. So, as far as the powertrain situation with this new model, it's going to be very similar to the Dodge Durango that we drove. So you've got the same two engines. So you've got the Pentastar 3.6 liter V6 engine. That's going to be on pretty much all of the trim levels, and it's going to be making 293 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. As you can see, that is plenty of power to get this up and moving quickly. As far as the transmissions are concerned, both have 8-speed automatics. And one notable difference is that the Jeep is on a rear-wheel drive platform, while the Kia is front-wheel drive based. And we'll go ahead and talk about the transmission. So we've got an 8-speed automatic transmission. Just like we've said in the previous model years of the Telluride, very smooth and nice shifting transmission. Yeah. Feels good and responsive. We're just in the normal mode right now. You do have several drive modes, which I pointed out earlier. And that can change the aggressiveness of the transmission shifts. But as far as in the standard mode, which is what most people will be driving around in, very responsive, but also really smooth shifts. Yeah. The Telluride has torque vectoring all-wheel drive, but the Jeep has a full-time four-wheel drive system, which belies its greater off-road capability in general. On-road driving dynamics are quite good with both, even if that's not the focus for vehicles like these. Ride qualities are comfortable on all kinds of roads, with the Cherokee feeling a bit softer sprung, and the Telluride feeling more maneuverable.
But even though this is a Jeep, it is also a family 3-row. So this goes against, some of the most comfortable vehicles you can buy, the Toyota Highlander, the, Honda Pilot. All of those vehicles are extremely comfortable, and I'm also just really enjoying how this vehicle rides. It really soaks up the bumps extremely well. I wouldn't say this is quite as comfortable as something like a Honda Pilot or a Toyota Highlander, but this is certainly very, very, very comfortable. And, while we're up to speed here, I do want to talk about that. Obviously, this Telluride's a family vehicle, first and foremost, and they do such an exceptional job with this. This vehicle competes with stuff like the Toyota Highlander. These are the most comfortable vehicles money can buy until you get into the luxury segments, and it's just so good. I really have no other way to say it. It soaks up bumps like no other. This seat is incredibly comfortable, and it is really quiet in here. It truly feels like a luxury car, and I'm not just saying like that. It really feels so supremely comfortable in here.
In our sound level measurements, the Telluride has the quieter cabin at 55 miles per hour on the highway.
53.3. We're looking at 56.7 decibels, which I believe that is right on par with what you're going to expect out of the competition.
And finally, finishing up this part, they have almost identical fuel economy numbers. So last but not least, let's circle back to the price difference of $2,305 in favor of the Kia. Now, ever since the Telluride was introduced 3 years ago, it's been in such high demand that most people have to pay a dealer markup to get one. That is still the case for 2022, so for that reason, we will call the price difference moot. So there you have it. Two of the newest entries into the 3-row segment are also two of the best. They both have distinct pros and cons, and as always, it'll have a lot to do with personal preference which of these two excellent products you would choose. Head on down to the comments section and tell us which way you'd go. And as always, thanks for joining us for another Car Confections comparison. We would love it if you'd subscribe to the channel to keep seeing more comparison videos like this one, as well as our signature full review videos and shorts content. Take care and stay safe out there.